Okay, so the next Dokkan Fest has arrived, and it is Mercenary Tao. Was definitely possible from the teaser we got, nothing too crazy. When I did my prediction or like kind of speculation on the teaser, obviously you guys know how the YouTube game works. So I'm not gonna put Tao in the thumbnail if he's not confirmed to be the Dokkan Fest, right? So that's who we have here, and we have his animation. So let's go ahead and check them out. This is going to be a two-part video. So we're going to react to the animations. Then later on, after he's done whatever he needs to do, I'm going to have Minato's Flash come on, and we are going to discuss the Dokkan Fest. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the animations. Right off the bat, I like this OST. This isn't a new one. I've heard that before. Okay, simple enough. All right, what do you got? Yep. Okay, so that's what the teaser was from. Like, that's why they used that. That was cool. So this is a counter. I already looked at his passive. Oh, nice. Cool. All right, what do you got for me, Tao? That's like Bianca Belair using his hair as a weapon. Boom! All right, one more. We got an active. Good voice acting. I like this the OST as well. Okay, so simple enough, right? We'll talk more about the kit when I have Minato on later. But again, this is just going to be the initial reaction to the animations. I know Dokkan Fest Tao is not going to be like the most eye-popping, attention-grabbing Dokkan Fest in the world, but you know, it's good that we have this right ahead of the Global Dokkan campaign. So there's some really good things to talk about with his kit, but I'm gonna have Minato on so we can get a little bit more in depth with it. So stay tuned, and I will be back when we start discussing. Okay, so we are back a little bit later, had some time to sort of digest what our good friend Tao is doing, and I've also brought a friend of the channel along. You guys know I mentioned him earlier. I have Minato with me, someone who's actually pretty excited about this Mercenary Tao. I'm sure that might not be the case for all of you, but I think having someone who's excited and kind of understands how the game works would be a good perspective to have for when we're talking about a new character. So Minato, how you doing tonight? What do you think of this Tao?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty I'm pretty excited for this Tao. Tao is a character I feel like I've been wanting to get an actual unit for a while. And the thing about Tao himself is that he's not gonna be some exciting mega hype character. He's not a Saiyan, Super Saiyan, or anything like that. And I understand, a lot of people are gonna skip him. Realistically, Global Dokkan Celebration is in like a month, so I wouldn't expect anyone to summon right now anyways. So this is a good spot to drop this guy, especially as I think a character who holds a lot of like importance in the section of the Red Ribbon Army saga he was in. So this is a character I personally just like, just all of his moves and how his character ended up working out. Very, very fun to see. And I mean, this guy looks very overpowered as well. I feel like he's going to be extremely good in the events that he's intended for. Now, spoiler alert, he's not a stacking character, but outside of like festival battles, I think he's gonna be pretty dominant in these endgame content stages.
Yeah, sort of just kind of looking at what he is able to do, just like reading over the passive here. I think really where you're going to see this guy shine a ton is where the enemy obviously can be debuffed. Because if you look at that passive skill, it's on the screen right now where it says a professional styles. We have, how many icons is that? Like 10, 11, like different things that he is doing, where you have damage reduction, increasing your attack, your defense, your ki, and then being able to stun an enemy. If the enemy is in a lower HP, aka under 70%, and they're stunned, that's literally already a baseline of attack plus 1000%. And that's literally just like if you stun the enemy and he has lower HP. So, you think of something like Battle Hard or Formidable Foes, those first phases of those fights, like where you can stun these enemies, this guy is going to perform pretty I'd say pretty well. Now when it comes to teams and link skills, that could be another question, but looking at what the passive has with this guy, I think that there is a lot to be excited about. Dragon Ball Saga getting the buffs that it needs. We've talked about how this team sort of was introduced with getting extra buffs like Kid Goku and such, and now it's starting to flesh out itself a bit more, and I think this Tao is a really good start. But like Minato said, not going to be like a long event crusher, and sometimes I feel like it's like, oh, is this unit not designed for Festival of Battles? It might not be that exciting, but I've gotten a lot of comments saying it's like we don't really care about Festival of Battles that much, but I feel like if you just ignore it, like that's not the right thing to do. Like, just objectively speaking, it is the hardest fight in the game, and that has to count for something, but this is not a character that's designed for that, so I think that's a good thing to have with variety. You look at somebody like Kid Goku. Go ahead.
The thing with me is that I feel like it is something that you should judge, and when it comes to if we're talking about like, let's say I'm gonna rank 1, 2, 3 best characters in the game. If 1 and 2 are good in Red Zone, Festival, and Battle Hardened Foes, and then 3 is only good in Red Zone and Battle Hardened Foes, then it's a thing of, well, if they're all even other than that, you're gonna consider Battle Hardened or Festival battles, right? At least that's how I would view it, in terms of like, what characters are you summoning for will bring you the most value across the game.
Yep.
Because there's gonna be players out there who may not have the setups to actually beat Battle Hardened Foes, even past, like, I guess stage 25 is very easy to get with the stones, but we're not sure if they're gonna ever also introduce another stage like that. So there's some things, and I understand why people may not care about it. So that's why I'm not really like, oh, if they're not good in festival battles, they suck, right? Because a character could be good in many different aspects across the game, and festival battles at the end of the day is just one part of the game. So I think that I don't really hold it too much against characters, and in this case, Tao may not be good there, and because of that, I might not necessarily say he's best TUR character. But like you said, especially in battle hardened foes, this guy has that turn 1 stun. He gets massive buffs when he actually attacks the enemy who stuns. On top of that, he has quite a high rate of damage reduction.
Yep.
And the amount of defense he should have start of turn is enough to basically live most supers in the game, if not just straight up all of them. Especially when we consider like Tao getting multi-turn support from General Blue is a character that could provide that. Power Kid Goku is a character on his team that provides extra damage reduction. So there's a lot of avenues Tao can actually look really nice. But for now, it seems like he's going to be quite restricted to his own setup. It's not really a big deal. I'm not going to expect Tao to be a character that's going to be good on a bunch of these different teams like a Saiyan character, right?
Yeah, and I also think that you kind of bring up a good point where it's saying like restricted to his setup. And it's like we said the same thing about DOKKANFEST Cell. And who knows, maybe this mission execution team, he is an Earthbred Fighters team leader as well, for what it's worth, but obviously you are going to need that mission execution character to really get the most out of this character, because, we're talking about 50% damage reduction here and stunning. Like, that is like sort of the bread and butter of this character's kit, in my opinion, being able to stun. And it's like imagine AGL Golden Frieza without the damage reduction, right? And it's ironic because it is damage reduction.
The thing about him is he also is actually like straight up on his own team. He just gets it from his friendly, right? The other Tao. Now we need to see how expensive this category is. We're not really too sure right now. I think it's a very vague category. My general idea is that it's going to be characters who were given a mission to do something, which, like Tao was hired to assassinate Goku. Maybe something like Ma Jr. was basically given a mission from his, predecessor as a successor to fight against Goku. Let's say Raditz was sent to Earth to get Goku, right? Kind of somewhat similar to Target Goku in a sense, but doesn't necessarily have to be Goku, but just a mission given to someone. Because like Target Goku could be like Broly, and Broly wasn't really given a mission to Target Goku. He just kind of hates him. You could say maybe the androids, in a sense, could potentially count as something like this. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see on how exactly it will work. But yeah.
I think so we Minato and I talked before the video about like who could potentially be on this mission execution category, and somebody that just dawned on me here as we were talking is I think Hit will be on this team because he was given missions to take people out, and then also the arc when he's like hired to take out Goku again. Well, not again, but for the first time from himself. I think that could potentially be something. And wasn't it also a mission to do something in the Tournament of Power? Like he was doing something for the cube.
I mean, not really. Like the
Yeah,
thing
it's
about
tough.
Hit that's unfortunate is that he is an assassin, so he's hired to do things.
Yeah.
But the cards we have of him, neither of them are really like him being hired to assassinate someone. Because the time that he was assassinated to fight Goku, or not assassinated, he was hired to assassinate Goku. That is an episode that we don't have in game right now,
and it's after the tournament.
Yeah,
because he wanted to fight him again.
Tournament and the Tournament of Power is more so him being recruited. He's not necessarily being given a mission to do something.
That's fair.
Like I feel like they would kind of count that separately, or else the entire Universe Survival Saga category would be on there. Maybe they're like, yeah, but I kind of don't think that's going to be the case.
Right. I think that there's definitely some like fringe characters that might be on there, because you mentioned characters getting orders, and I think that Broly has potential to be there because he is taking orders from Paragus and then be a proxy Frieza in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. But we shall see. It's a very kind of questionable category because they like to get funky with these names, and especially when we don't have the data download and we don't know what they're doing exactly yet with the team, what the description's going to be. It's all sort of just hearsay and remembering what characters do in the series, right? I think somebody that I personally would expect to see on the team is somebody who's not relevant right now would be like Mecha Frieza and King Cold, if they ever wanted to do that in the future, because I do think that they had their own mission to go to Earth and take care of Goku / get rid of Earth. But again, it wasn't given from somebody, so that's where things kind of get a little bit tricky, at least in my opinion. But I don't know. It's a fun kind of discussion to have.
I'm thinking the EZA for the celebration will actually be Eiji Ginyu. And,
okay.
This is kind of random to a lot of people, just throwing out Eiji Ginyu. But when we're talking about this category, I see Ginyu being a character that fits mission execution, because the Ginyu Force was basically hired by Frieza to go ahead and collect all the Dragon Balls, right? Because Doria was dead, Zarbon was dead, Kui, got killed as well. Like, so then Frieza was like, hey, I'm gonna get the Ginyu Force in here, right? And that kind of, to me, feels like something, hey, Frieza's telling us to execute this mission. And in that sense, I could see the Ginyu Force, who has a restriction currently for Ginyu Force or support for Ginyu Force, they could expand that to not only the new mission execution category, but maybe it could be a little bit of a precursor to Global Dokkan Celebration. Let's say it's Namek Saga for the first part. Maybe there could also be Namek Saga added to like Eiji Ginyu's passive. Maybe we got the sub EZAs. You know what?
We would need those sub EZAs for those banner units too. That would be like a must.
That something random that I just thought of literally right now in the middle of your video that I'm going to use for mine is, we know in the data, Proton confirmed this some time ago, there's 21 slots of IDs in like basically the awakening tables, and each of those slots represent an awakening step, or let's say reversal step. So TUR characters take 7 each. So in those 21 slots, we are expecting a total of 3 characters, because all 3 of them will take 7 each. That could be Ginyu and his 2 banner units.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense. And because like you already mentioned it, that being like, it's like, what does the Ginyu Force have to do with Mercenary Tao? Well, it has everything to do with it because of the category. And then like, if those characters are crazy and they somehow work well together with Mercenary Tao, like within, I don't really know how that would work. Just like thinking of like the Ginyu team on Mercenary Tao setup, but like, that's tough. I don't know if I would want to do that.
Ginyu has Fierce Battle and
so looking at Tao,
Fierce Battle and Brutal Beatdown. And then the rest of the links they're not gonna share. But the thing about Tao is that he's made in a way where he doesn't care about his links because of the amount of attack he gets in his passive.
Right.
He gets so much attack in his passive.
And that damage reduction, obviously, so he could slot 1.
Yeah, exactly. So then we could have maybe a character like Ginyu. Ginyu is a character who also, obviously gets a lot of power from those Ginyu Force links,
Mhm.
but maybe they could design him in a way where he doesn't necessarily need that much. Um, but yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. Actually, he doesn't have brutal beatdown. I'm kind of really stupid. Ginyu does not have
So
that.
they just share fierce
I was
battle.
thinking, yeah, I was thinking of
Yeah.
another character, but yeah, they would only share first battle, but it depends. Like, I
Mhm.
think if Ginyu's like gonna be a character you keep on rotation on the other rotation, or maybe it could be a thing where Ginyu's like a floating support. It really depends on how they take these things. But we do know that at least there are 21 slots. This is what we're thinking will be for the next celebration, which is this Tao celebration. So we have to wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see is the name of the game. But unless we have anything to talk about Minato, I think that we are probably going to be good there for this one. DOKKANFEST TAO is here, not here yet, but has been revealed. Looks pretty damn good, and it'll be interesting to see sort of how things play out.
And keep in mind for you guys watching, no, I actually interrupted you. That's my bad. There's gonna be a lot of tickets. There's gonna be
that
14
too.
tickets, 14 tickets from Dokkan Day, but there's also gonna be 21 tickets from the Seriously Serious Battles events. So a total of 5.
Isn't that the other way around?
Tickets. Whichever way it is. Yeah, no, you're right. It is the other way around, but it doesn't really matter. It's 35 total tickets. That
Yeah, you get 5 multis on this banner. So not SSR guaranteed, but that is a very important point. And thank you for reminding me of that, because when the banner is around, then I'm going to inevitably do my Should You Summon video. We do have to talk about that. So if you guys pick up this character with tickets, it's a W. There's really nothing to be upset about for sure. And it'll be very interesting to see how the banner looks, because with Dragon Ball, there's only so many options that they have. And I can't imagine it's just going to be like all Dragon Ball characters, considering what the Saiyan Day banner was, but you never know. It's always interesting to see. But let us know, let myself know, let Minato know what you guys think of this character. Will you be summoning, even though we said you shouldn't, and all of that fun stuff. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you were new, so that way you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.